At just past 1 minute, she says that if a Christian or a Jew does something newsworthy, presumably bad, the media fails to cover it. Well, Robia, do a simple scientific survey of CNN for 1 week and see how many bad stories are about Christians versus Muslims. Or you could simply look at studies that have already been done on that specific issue. When you're done with that, it'd be nice to see what your results are. At just past 2 minutes, she claims that the second problem in America is that they do not fear someone watching them. First of all, the vast majority of people here are Christian, so they do fear God. Second, I detest when Muslims try and make it seem as if they have low crime rates, especially when they use official statistics to back it up. For example, Saudi Arabia has an extremely low rape rate. Yet, if you met Saudi Arabian men, you would never think that was the case. The explanation is that if you are in a country where you get blamed for being in a rape, not too many people are going to come forward and say, hey, I was raped. Another simple example is the funny fact that the Mutawwa in Saudi Arabia have the highest STD rates. Everyone in the country knows they go to Dubai, sleep with prostitutes, and come back with gonorrhea, herpes, syphilis. You would think that if this idea that people who are feared because they are afraid of because they're being watched by God had any merit, then the very keepers of Sharia law would not be the ones so full of STDs. At about 2 minutes and 50 seconds, you start saying that if you don't fear someone watching you, you'll do whatever you want to do. Now, I don't think you individually, Robia, are somebody like this, but I do want to point out to anyone that if the only reason you do not kill and rape your neighbor is because you think someone's watching you, and if they weren't watching you, you would kill and rape everyone you could, then you are a horrible person. At 3 minutes and 50 seconds, you have the audacity to claim that advertisement models are being forced into selling themselves. The definition of being forced is to do it against your will. Here in America, becoming a model takes a lot of work and personal commitment, all things you do with your own will. So it's definitely not being forced upon them. They could get any other job, but instead they chose to invest their time and effort to try and become a model because they wanted that job. They worked and they got it. That's freedom. On the other hand, the millions of women in several Muslim countries do not decide or choose whether to wear a hijab or not. That, my friend, is a definition of being forced into a mold.
And other institutions that exploit females. My body is my own business. Nobody can tell me how I should look. Muslims respect all religions.
And this is what the Prophet is saying. Look, and in Sahih Muslim, and Abi Huraira, from Sahih Muslim, he said, the Prophet, he said, don't ever say Salamu Alaikum, don't start ever saying Shalom or Hello to Christian or a Jew. And if you see them in the street, look, this is what I'm reading. Here we go. If you see one of them in the street, force him to go to the most narrow, ugly, bad road. And you have to humiliate them and insult them with no respect and putting them down big time. So it's a must for every Muslim in the land of Islam to humiliate, to disrespect, to harm someone he is a Christian or a Jew.